Side by Side.
Hey guys, welcome back to another Gaming Memories video. Here we are taking a look at a unique arcade style racing game by the name of Side by Side Special that was released in Japan in 1999. And this game actually has a few different type of quirks in it. Yes, it is an arcade game, but it also allows for the likes of drift style mechanics. It's very similar to a couple of other style games that were released in Japan at the time. One in it quite simply and familiarly known as Initial D. If you have seen that as well, I've actually done a previous video of Initial D. I'll drop a link down in the description so that you can go and check that out and you can see the comparisons, because again it uses drift style mechanics. This gameplay is actually very similar to it, so it does. But the difference with this game is it's like more mainstream arcade race, and not only does it have drift mechanics, but you can have multiple cars on the screen, very similar to even the likes of Ridge Racer, where it also has its own drift mechanics as well. And I've also done previous videos on them, so I'll drop links to all the videos that I mentioned in the video down in the description below. And it's definitely a very popular game in Japan. One thing I've noticed as well is that when I actually have done like kind of like racing videos or car type videos on the channel, especially with Japanese style games, this game here does tend to crop up quite a bit, and a lot of people do mention it that they'd love to see a video on it. So I said to myself, right, this is a good excuse to do that. But I can see the popularity in it. It definitely feels like an arcade game from the moment you actually go to play it, and it's actually a lot of fun. Again, it's very challenging, it takes a bit of getting used to, but this game is actually a really good racing game. So it is, and it's definitely, for an arcade style game, it's definitely one of the best arcade style racers I've played on the PlayStation. And it's a pity that it was only released in the Japanese region, because I do believe that this game would have actually done quite well had it been actually released in other regions as well. It was also known as Battle Gear originally in the arcades in Japan itself, but it was named specifically Side by Side for the PlayStation version. Again, there was a few different variations of the games, like an entire series of it. Not all of them reached the consoles, a lot of them were mainly in the arcades. But this here is definitely a good spin-off. Like, it has really good graphics, it has really good tracks, it actually got quite a lot of very popular cars from different eras, like from the 80s and the 90s. Like here on the screen you have the Toyota Corolla, or otherwise known as the AE86, which is one of the most iconic kind of cars, pretty much kind of exploded with the popularity of the Initial D franchise. If you've ever watched like the TV series or even the movies or whatever, I actually have seen a few of them myself and I thought they were pretty cool. Again, this car is pretty much the main focal point of that franchise, and it's considered to be one of the best all-round drift cars ever in the world. Like, so it's cool to see it in this game. But you also have it actually mixed up with the likes of 90s cars. You have the Toyota Celica, you have the Toyota Supra, you actually have Subaru Impreza, you even have here like you've the, is it the Subaru, is it the Legacy or the Stagia? It's one of those type of cars. I can't remember the actual name because there's so many of them, and with some of them that looked similar, but you'd get confused of the brand name. Some of them, like you'd have to kind of look twice at them to figure out which brand they were under. You also have the likes of Mitsubishi Lancer, the Evo 4. You've even got a couple of Honda cars. You've like the Civic, and you even have CRX, and there's a load of other ones as well. There's actually definitely a really good selection of cars in this game, and again you have a really good mix of tracks as well. It's not like most arcade games out there where you usually only ever get like say 3 or 4 tracks. This here actually has a lot more than that, all with different terrains, and they have different kind of aesthetics and elements, and they all affect the handling of the cars in different ways. So like here, when you're going on to gravel, you can drift the car, but it does affect the handling of the car a lot more, because you don't have the same grip on the road as you would say like on tarmac and so forth. So it definitely offers a presentable challenge. Again, like they said, the game is actually a really fun game to play. It definitely offers a challenge. It is difficult. It definitely takes a bit of getting used to, because you do have to learn the layouts of the tracks. and with each car, because the handling characteristics of each car is different, so it does take a little bit of fettling to try and understand how each car feels. But again, it's like anything else with these type of games. If you enjoy it, you're going to actually give them a go and you're going to play it, and you get out of it what you're willing to put in. But having actually played this now myself, and again because I'm a big fan of racing games, and racing games are among my favourites on the PlayStation. I just love the PlayStation style, graphics, and just what they represent. But this here is a really fun game. This is actually definitely one of the better racing games in my opinion, and definitely one of the better racing games to actually come out in Japan. And it is actually, I think, considered to be one of the more popular games as well, and you can see why, because it really is just a fantastic title. And I have actually gotten a few comments from some subscribers looking for a video of this here, so I said, right, it is a good opportunity to do that, and it's a good excuse to play the game again, because the cool thing about it is as well, like, it does offer a challenge, but you can just pick it up and play it casually as well. If you just want to have a few races in it for a couple of minutes, if you have a bit of free time, or you're bored and you just want something quick to play, this is actually a really good one to actually dive into. And again, the graphics in it as well, I love the colourful style of graphics, even though there is a bit of kind of like, in terms of not so much slowdown, but you definitely see like the clipping where the full map doesn't come into view until you get closer to it. But that was a common thing with a lot of games back then. The draw distance in the maps was quite short, but still the graphics were nice. They were very bright, vibrant, and very colourful. So it definitely added to the appeal to the game, and especially with a lot of those arcade style racers, the brighter the graphics, if you've ever even played the likes of Ridge Racer, you can see how appealing that they are. They always seem to work really well when they have like really bright graphics in the games. But again, even with the handling characteristics of the games, like the way you can drift as well, it's not difficult to put a car into a drift. Maintaining it is a different story, but depending on the car sometimes that you're using, some cars will be a wee bit easier to maintain drifts than others. But it all really boils down to your own preferences and your own abilities pretty much when you're playing it. But it's like but when you actually go and sit down and actually play it, the more you practice, the easier it gets over time. And I actually found that even when playing some of the tracks are definitely a lot easier to get around than others, and you will actually find yourself actually being able to at least dominate or get close to dominating a couple of races. But then on other tracks you definitely have more challenges, and like I mentioned with the terrain and so forth, you'll have like different, like say you've gravel, you've even got snow tracks and other types of terrain as well. So they definitely play a big factor in terms of how the cars actually handle and how difficult the track or race entirely is going to be as you're playing through the game. But it's definitely one for the books. I would definitely recommend that you try this game out if you're big into your racing games, even if you like drift style racing games, but even if you just genuinely love arcade style racing games that has all those elements combined. This is definitely one of the perfect titles. You couldn't go wrong with this here. It does present a good challenge, and it has everything pretty much on offer. You can drive at high speed, you can just fling the car in the corners and drift away to your heart's content, and you'll actually have so much fun. So I highly recommend that you do check it out, or even pick it up or play it whatever way you can, because you will actually enjoy it. So I'd love to know your thoughts on this game, and what are your experiences with it. Have you actually played it, or did you even know about this game? Did you even know it existed? Make sure to share them down in the comments below. So if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. Also be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be updated whenever I release future content, and also feel free to share the video, as I am going to be exploring a lot more of these quirky style racers that came out in Japan, and even just other types of games similar to it, and sharing my thoughts and experiences with everyone. So as always, make sure to keep playing those classic games and enjoying them, and keep those gaming memories alive.
Extended time. Your time is almost up. Congratulations.